Okay, hey everybody, it's Angie here, and I am with Tiffany Wynn. And Tiffany is a behavior change specialist and life coach that helps moms get off the struggle bus and find ease and joy in the chaos of motherhood. So, I know one thing as moms that we deal with is mom guilt. And so I found Tiffany, kind of saw what she was about, and asked her if she would join us and share some tips with us. So, Tiffany, go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us why you're passionate about talking to moms.
Yes. Hi, everyone. So I am a mom of one spunky little girl, and she will be 2 in a couple of months. Well, next month, actually. And my motherhood journey kind of started off with a rocky start, which led to me feeling a lot of various emotions. My daughter is actually not my first child. I had a son that we lost in the middle of my pregnancy, which made, all of those emotions as a new mom just kind of come catapulting down on me. And I had my daughter, we got pregnant with my daughter just a few months after that. So my motherhood journey really started off with me not being in a good mental, emotional place. And if you can imagine all of those emotions and feelings and everything creeping in on me, it put me in a really rocky place, in a really negative place. And I got to a point where I just hit rock bottom, and I knew that I had to make a change, not just for me, but for my entire family, because I knew that I could no longer go on feeling the way I was feeling and be a good mom and a good wife and provide for my family and care for my family the way that I wanted to. And I knew that there were some options. I knew that I could see a doctor and maybe get on medication. I knew that there were, I could go to therapy, and that there were just different things that I could possibly do to help, me with where I was at. But me being very natural minded, I wanted to see if I could do it on my own. And I wanted to see what things could I do to help me feel better, to bring my, energy up, bring my mood up, elevate myself on my own. And so I just started to think throughout the day, what can I do to feel better? And I just started doing and trying various strategies, seeing what worked, kind of trial and error, figuring out like what made me actually feel better, what things actually worked. And throughout this entire process, I realized that I was not alone, that there are so many other moms who were also struggling, so many other moms, because, during this process, I was kind of very vulnerable about sharing about this on social media. And I had so many moms coming to me and telling me that they were experiencing very similar feelings, that they were having similar experiences, but it wasn't something that they felt comfortable sharing. And so they were coming to me because I was the person who was kind of putting it out there. And I realized, you know what, if this is working for me, and if I'm able to pull myself from rock bottom to where I'm at now, that there are so many other moms who can do the same. And that, it's a very simple process, but it's strategies that we don't really think about on our own. And we sometimes just need that extra guidance to figure out how to navigate mom life.
Yeah. So could you share with us some of those strategies that you use to kind of pull yourself from that place?
Yes, absolutely. So I know that mom guilt is kind of my specialty,
Right.
because I know that that is just one major topic that hits moms so hard.
I'm going
And
to interrupt you for a quick second. Why do you
yes,
think there's no such thing as dad guilt? That's my question.
you know what? Yes, I think about this all the time. And I had brunch with a couple of girlfriends this past weekend. And one of them asked me, did I feel guilty because my daughter was with my mom, because my husband was, doing his thing. And she was like, do you feel guilty, that you're not with your daughter right now? And I was like, you know what? I don't. And I was like, I used to, and I used to feel guilty every time I would leave my daughter to go, whether it was running errands or have a date night with my husband or just whatever it was. I would feel so guilty that I was not there with her. And you know what? I really think it's the roles that society has placed on what a mom is supposed to be and what a dad is supposed to be. And I started thinking, who made up those rules? Who said that moms are the ones who are supposed to feel this way and that dads are supposed to be this way. And so I started to say, you know what? I don't want to have to feel that way. I'm not going to feel guilty for taking time to take care of myself. I'm not going to feel guilty for taking time to nourish my relationship with my husband when we have date nights. I'm not going to allow myself to feel that way because someone said, moms are supposed to be with their kids 24/7, or someone made us think that we're supposed to be the only person that our kids can look to for care. You know what? That's not true. And when we start to change our beliefs around that, and we start to tell ourselves a new story behind that, because we've all just been playing into the story of what a mom is supposed to be.
Yeah.
Because that's what society told us. But when we say, you know what, I don't want to believe that story anymore. I want to change the story. I want to give myself a new story. I want to say that moms can take care of themselves, that moms can still be amazing providers and caretakers for their kids, even when they're not there with them 24/7. And one way that I do that is I have this term that I coined, the momfidence. And so it's just our confidence as a mom. How confident are you feeling? And so one thing that I do with my clients is I have them evaluate themselves on the momfidence scale. And so this momfidence scale is just what it sounds like. On a scale from 0 to 10, how are you feeling as a mom right now? And when you're at an 8, 9, or 10, you're feeling like a rock star. You feel really amazing, like you're feeling confident. You feel like everything is great. And then when you're on the lower end of the scale at a 0, 1, 2, that's where that mom guilt is. That's where you're feeling really bad. You're beating yourself up. You're judging yourself, and you just don't feel great. And so some of the things that I do is I take mental evaluations all throughout the day of where I'm at on the momfidence scale, especially as soon as I wake up in the morning. I'm like, how are you feeling right now, Tiffany? Do you feel really great right now? Because if you don't feel great right now, what do you need to do to take care of yourself and bring yourself up on the momfidence scale so that you're not starting your day off already feeling like crap, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because as moms, as soon as our kids are awake, we are thrown into that role.
It's so true. Yes.
Yes. As soon as our kids are awake, we are moms. Like, you don't get a chance to do anything else. You have to be on from the second that they wake up. And so I make sure that I wake up earlier than my daughter so that I can have time to be Tiffany first, make sure I get a chance to take care of what I need for myself, give myself a chance to do some self-care, some self-evaluation, start my day off feeling good. So that way, when my daughter wakes up, I am not feeling like, oh my gosh, and feeling rattled and discombobulated and already starting my day off on a rocky start.
Yep.
That
so that's a good point.
Yes, because I used to just sleep in and wait until she woke up. And then I would be like all over the place throughout the rest of the day because I never got a chance to really, take a chance to evaluate on that momfidence scale.
Yeah.
And so when I do that, I think, okay, if I'm not at an 8, 9, or 10 on the momfidence scale first thing in the morning, I think about what I can do. So another tip that I have is to create a high vibe list. And so this high vibe list is literally a list that I keep in my phone. You can write it in a journal or whatever, but it's a list of just things that make me feel good. So it's things like, I have a playlist on my Spotify that are my like total jams that I absolutely love. And so when I am not at an 8, 9, or 10 on the confidence scale, I know that if I crank that playlist on, it's going to bring me up. It's going to elevate my mood. It's going to make me feel better. It's going to pump me up, and I'm going to get my energy and my mood back up. It could be things like reading a book. It could be things like, taking a bubble bath, whatever. It doesn't have to be. A lot of times we think self-care has to be these elaborate things like going to the spa or getting our nails done or like hair or trips or whatever. And it can be those things. Absolutely. Those things are great. But as moms, we don't always have a chance to make the time to go get our nails done in the middle of the day when we need an elevation in our mood. Yes. And so I also think of like, what can I be doing that are quick, simple, easy things that I know will lift me up? And so it could be, making a list of friends that, when you call that person, they're going to put you in a good mood. It could be, just things that are quick, 5-10 minute ideas that will lift you up. So those are the things that I go to when I notice myself slipping on the confidence scale, or when I wake up first thing in the morning and my confidence is low. I go to my list and I'm like, all right, what can I pick from this list that I know is going to pick me up right now?
Yes.
And so I do those things. And then I also am really big on gratitude. And I say that gratitude is the key to keeping your confidence high, because as moms, like, we have so many things being thrown to us all the time. And it is so easy to focus on the things that we feel like we're not doing right, the things that we feel like we're struggling with, the things that we feel like we are, failing at, and we zone in on those things, and it makes us not feel great. Why are we focusing on those things? There are so many other things that you are probably doing a wonderful job at as a mom, but those things are not things that we typically focus on about ourselves. We tend to gravitate and put our focus on the negatives. So shift that. Focus on the things that you feel really good about, the things that you're grateful for, the things that you're thankful for. And, just start to focus on those things, because when you do that, you'll start to notice, again, your confidence is going to go up. So even in those crazy, like I say, chaotic situations that happen with motherhood, I always try to find something, even if it's just a little thing in every situation, that I can be grateful for. So, if it is just a crazy chaotic day and you're like, what is going on right now? Like, I am feeling not great. What is going right though? There's always something that you can find that's going right. And every time that your mind starts to shift to that negative thing, I tell myself, Tiffany, we're not going there. We are focusing on this today. We're focusing on this right now. We are not going to that negative place. Like, there's no good in us. There's no good for us over there. We're not focusing on that. And I do the same thing with mom guilt. Anytime I feel that mom guilt coming in, and I always say that mom guilt really only has an opportunity to come in when you are low on the confidence scale. So the lower you're going down on the confidence scale, it's like the door is swinging open for mom guilt to walk herself right into your thoughts. Yes. So if you stay high on the confidence scale and you're keeping yourself at around a 8, 9, or 10, she really doesn't have space to come in, because that door is shut. But when you start to lower and you start to question yourself, and the guilt starts to come in, and you're starting to think, oh my gosh, I'm not very good at this. Oh my gosh, I'm not a good mom. What am I doing? You're lowering on the scale, and mom guilt is like, yay, let me come in, because you're opening that door for her to come in. And that's when those thoughts, that guilt starts to come in. But the way that you can push her out, the way that you can raise yourself back up, is going back to that gratitude and focusing, zoning in on that gratitude. Because when you make that gratitude super loud, you're going to drown out mom guilt, and you're not going to be able to hear her anymore. You're going to notice her getting more quiet and more quiet and more quiet and more quiet until she's gone. And then you don't even notice her anymore, because you're zoned in on the good things that are happening.
Yeah. So for instance, I'm going to walk you through an example that happened to me this morning. So my kids are spring break. I have a 12 and a 10-year-old. And so I'm like trying to get my stuff in the mornings. They're kind of self-occupied, they're
right,
or they're doing their thing. And so I knew I could get a little bit of work done because I know we're going to do something fun all day tomorrow. So I knew I had to like a little chunk of time this morning that I'm like, they're occupied doing their thing. I'm going to get some work done. Well, sure enough, one of them starts creeping in like, hey, Mom, what you doing? And I'm like, immediately I was like, they're on spring break. I shouldn't be working. Like instantly I feel like I'm not doing a good job, and
yes,
I had that instant mom guilt feeling that I'm not being a good mom. So in that situation, like, how would you recommend to like flip that script and just say, like, do you say, hey, I'm thankful I get to stay home with my kids, and this is just a piece that has to be done for that to happen? Or how would you?
100%. Okay. So as soon as you start to notice it, and the more aware that you are, and I teach this in one of my courses. I teach about knowing your triggers. So as moms, a lot of times we each have specific triggers and things that set us off, that set off that mom guilt. Yeah. So like sometimes like as stay-at-home moms, a lot of times that trigger, especially work at home moms, that trigger is finding that balance of spending time with your kids, but also working. And I know that's a trigger for me also. And so when that comes in, I mean, almost same exact situation happened for me today. I was in my office working. My daughter's in the, room right here. I can see her and she's like watching cartoons. And then that little mom guilt voice came in and said, gosh, you have her in there by herself watching cartoons, and when you could be like spending time with her. And I immediately, when I hear that voice and I know it's a lie, and I say, you know what, that's a lie. I call it my lie detector test. And so I first say, you know what, that's a lie. That is not the truth, because mom guilt, all she is a liar. And she just wants you to believe what she has to say. But when you say, I'm choosing not to believe that. I'm not going to believe that I'm not a good mom because I'm not with my kid every single second. Yeah. You know what? And so like when you tell yourself, so you flip the script by one, pointing out what the lie is. So the lie is like, you're not a bad mom because you're not spending every second with your kid. That does not make you a bad mom. Like, you know that you have to prioritize at some points. And so I tell myself that I shut it down with the truth. And then, like you said, you say what you're thankful for. I'm so thankful that I get the opportunity to even be here with my kids right now, because there's so many moms that would love to be at home with their kids right now, but they're at work while their kids are on spring break at home by themselves, So like, you just hit the nail on the head. That's exactly what you would do.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I feel like that's so helpful. Just that, giving yourself permission to kind of say, like, it's okay that you're not with them every single second that they wish you could be, right? Like just giving yourself permission to think that that's okay is like, it's so freeing. Yeah.
Yes. Sure. Because a lot of times what I say is beliefs are just thoughts that we've told ourselves over and over and over again. Yeah. That's all a belief is. It's just something that we've thought over and over and over again. And so your brain says, wow, she thinks this a lot, so it must be true. Yeah. And so in order to change that belief, all you have to do is change what you're thinking. And so instead of thinking, it's not good for me to not spend every second of the day with my kids, you just change the belief to, it's okay for me to not be with my kids 24/7. Yes. And you just repeat that. And so when you repeat that to yourself over and over and over again, then your brain's going to say, oh, wow, she says this a lot. She thinks this a lot. This must be something she really believes. So we're going to swap out this belief for this belief. Yep. And you're going to that's going to become your natural thought process eventually. And you're going to have to repeat it a lot. And it's not going to be as natural at first, but the more you do it, the faster you're going to think it. Like sometimes mom guilt would overtake me for days or weeks at a time sometimes, because it would take me so long to flip my thoughts, but now I can cut it off in 2.5 seconds. I'm like, nope, not even going there. Like, I am not having that. You got to go, mom guilt. Bye. Like, I'm not doing that today. And you'll get faster and faster and be able to shut it down. She's going to start to show up less and less in your life when you start to change those beliefs.
Oh, I love that. Yes. Okay. So kind of in the same vein, what do you think about like balancing it all? Is that a myth? And then kind of going along with that, like time management, like how do those, because I mean, I feel like especially as moms that do work from home, like, yes, I feel like sometimes just when I think I'm thinking about it right, everything gets jumbled again. So I want to hear your take on it.
I think that balance is, like you said, a myth. There is no such thing as balance. You're never going to be able. And if you are, like, I applaud you. I don't know any mom that is able to actually have a balance. There is not going to be a balance. And I choose to, what I think of it is as seasons. So we have certain seasons where different things are going to be different. You're going to have different priorities through different seasons. And you're going to go through ebbs and flows where sometimes your business is going to have to be that priority. When you're in a season of building, when you're in a season of growing, when maybe you're about to launch something new, or maybe you have, just something really major going on with your business, that might take precedent over a lot of other things going on in your life. And there's going to be other times when maybe your kids are the precedent where, maybe they're transitioning, maybe they're, going to starting school or whatever. And so that becomes your focus, and everything else kind of just takes a back seat.
Yeah.
And that's okay. I think a lot of times as moms, we feel like our kids have to be the biggest priority. And then you feel guilty whenever you do anything else that is not about your kids. And that's just not the truth. Like, that's just another thing that I've told myself, like, you know what, who said that has to be, that's the way it has to be? Who told us that that's how it has to go? And that's just not true. Like I said, like right now for me, my business is like in a building season. And so like, that's where I spend a lot of time and a lot of my focus. Like my husband, sometimes when he comes home from work, I don't even get to see him because I'm in my office working, and he knows that. And so dinner's ready for him downstairs, and I crawl into bed and he's in bed, and I'm like, did you have a good day? We have like a quick little conversation in bed, and I'm out for the night, and I just know that like, this is a season. It's not going to be like this forever. Eventually, when my business is at a place where I'm like, we're good to go, I can make my husband my priority, and we can start having more quality time together, and we can start, going on more date nights and things like that. But right now I had to figure out like, where's my focus? And it's not that I'm like ignoring my husband. Like we still, do have date nights, and it's not like I'm ignoring my daughter. Like I still spend quality time with her. But right now I have a lot of my focus on my business. And then I find other ways to make sure that everything else in my life is still being nurtured.
Yep.
And that I'm not like just completely ignoring everything.
Yep. I love that. Cause I find the same thing. Like you at the end of the day, we only have 24 hours in a day, you know? And then when you take out your sleep and all the other things, it's like, I only really have these few hours in the day, and something has to take priority. And I love what you said about seasons, because it's like, then I don't have to feel guilty. Like, yes, like I feel like in the summers, my priority shifts, and my kids are my priority all summer long, and my business takes a back seat because that's what we choose to do.
And that's okay.
Yes. I love that you said that about seasons, because that makes so much sense. I love that. Yeah.
Yeah. And I use the example of like farmers. Like farmers typically have one thing that like is their jam, and like that's what they focus on. And like it's like if they're a potato farmer or something, like they focus on potatoes, and like potatoes are like killing it. But that doesn't mean that like they still don't plant like carrots and corn or like whatever else. Like they still plant the other things, but they know that like they're really good at potatoes, and so they just put their focus on the potatoes, and so everything else just kind of nurtures and grows on its own. Like the farmer might come out and water it like once a day and make sure that it's being taken care of, but they really zone in on like that one thing that they like really love. And so like, that's what we kind of should be doing, rather than trying to find a balance. Because I did used to try to find a balance, like, all right, 2 hours a day of this, 2 hours a day of that, 2 hours a day of this. And like, it drove me crazy. I was going nuts. And it just doesn't work that way. Like you can't find an actual balance. There is no such thing. You just kind of have to find like what your priority is, and then just make sure everything else is just being taken care of.
Yes. I love that. I feel like there's a ton of freedom in that,
Yes.
So
oh my gosh. Yes.
Yes.
It frees yourself and that guilt of feeling like you have to have everything done. It frees you up so much.
Yes. I love that. I feel like the biggest thing I'm hearing as a takeaway is like, quit making yourself feel guilty, because there's no need for it, right?
There is no need for the guilt. There really is not any need for the guilt. And I think one thing that I know for myself freed me up from guilt a lot too, is knowing that every mom is different, and every mom kind of has like something that she's really great at. I know that like one thing that brings a lot of guilt on moms is comparing ourselves to other moms. And social media makes that really easy to do, because we only get to see like what other moms are showcasing. And most people are not out there just talking about what they are not good at and like what they're struggling with. Like they're just not. And so like you get to see Sarah, sharing that she made like 500 cookies for her kid's party, and you're over here like, I just picked up cookies from Kroger's and it makes you feel like crap and you feel guilty. But like, what is Sarah not great at that you don't even get to see, that you are like maybe killing it at? And so like, if you just focus on what you are really good at and don't look at like what everyone else is doing, and you just zone in and you're like, you know what, Sarah might be great at like doing Pinterest stuff, but I am a really great mom at like making my kids laugh, and like we have so much fun whenever we're together, and like just whatever it is, like find your like mama rock star role and just like live in that, like just take hold of that, whatever you're really good at. Because I know I felt a lot of guilt because my mom is like the original OG Pinterest mom, and she like made all of our like costumes and was like making 3 meals a day. And I thought that was going to be me as a mom. And when I was like, you know what, I really don't like crafting. Like, I really don't like, cooking every day. And I thought that made me a bad mom because that's what I saw in my mom. And that's what I saw. And I thought like I was supposed to be like that. I thought that that's what a mom was supposed to be. Yeah. And so when I said, you know what, but why? Why do I have to be that way? I might not be great at like doing this and that and, all this other stuff. But you know what? I'm really great at like playing games with my daughter and making her laugh until like she cannot even take it anymore. Like I really love that about myself as a mom. And so like, that's what I focus on. I don't focus on that, like the things that I'm struggling with, or I don't even think we should say that we're struggling with. It's just things that are like, just not our jam. It's just not like what I enjoy, and that's okay. Yes. And I give myself freedom to not, be everything. And I think like one thing that has really helped me too is like figuring out like, what do I want to be as a mom? Like, what do I want my mom life to look like? And I literally journaled it out. Like, what do I want my mom life to look like? When my daughter is old enough to like come back to me and say like, Mom, like, this is what I saw in you growing up, what would I want her to say? And I think about that, and I wrote that down, all the things, and I just live in that. Like, I make sure that is the mom that I am. And like, I don't really care if my daughter's like, Mom, I really love that you made 3 meals every single day for me. And that like, I love that about my mom, but like, that's not what I want my daughter to say about me. Like, I want her to be like, Mom, we had so much fun. Like, I had so much fun growing up. Like, it was such a, lively house. And like, that's what I want my daughter to remember about her childhood growing up, And so I just live in that.
Oh, I love that. I love that. So I will say like a couple takeaways that people can do is really think about what they're good at. Focus on those things. When you're feeling down, like go back to the gratitude of what's going right. Like, what am I thankful for in this moment? Quit believing the lie that you're going to have a balanced life or that things are ever going to feel balanced, and rather live kind of with the seasons, and your priorities are going to change with whatever season you're in. I mean, these are phenomenal tips. So I am so thankful that you came on here and shared with us. Tell people how they can connect with you and what other kind of things you offer for them to get to know you a little more.
Absolutely. So you guys can find me on social media at The Tiffany Wynn. That's on Instagram and Facebook at The Tiffany Wynn. My website is The Tiffany Wynn. I have a podcast you can find on iTunes, The Mindset Mama. And I currently do one-on-one coaching with moms, and I have a Ditch the Mom Guilt course that has 5 modules and bonuses that will help you end the mom guilt for good and start living like a confident rock star mama.
Awesome. Well, I will post all of that information along with the video so people can just link directly to that. And I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I had so much fun. I appreciate it.
Sounds great.